Now, we are going to discuss from paragraph 12. Let's see what happens now. Now, a situation arises. Till now, we had seen that they had started a plan and Brahmaduta got to know about this, and then he changed his view. He changed his order that from now on, the people, the other men or his assistants would kill the deer, but he won't to do that. So now what happens? One day, a doe from the herd of Brighter Than the Sun approached the leader. Now, be very careful about this line, because see here properly. First of all, it's mentioned that one day a doe from the herd of Brighter Than the Sun. Firstly, a doe means a female deer, and that female deer was belonging from the group of Brighter Than the Sun. So, the doe from Brighter Than the Sun's group approached the leader. So, here the leader refers to Brighter Than the Sun itself. Okay. And she said, "Today it is my turn to die." That day, the doe had her turn to offer herself. "I am pregnant. Please let me miss my turn now. After my child is born, I will offer myself." So the doe said to her leader that today is my turn to die. I have to offer myself. But right now I am bearing my child within. She was pregnant. She was carrying her child. She was carrying the baby deer within her womb. And she requested to her leader that please let me miss my turn. Let me not go and die today. Why? Because she was carrying a life within her. After my child is born, I will offer myself. So she said that I don't have any problem with offering myself, but since I'm pregnant right now, I'm having a baby inside myself, so I don't want my child's life to be in danger or in trouble. So let me miss my turn today, and the time when my baby is brought into the world, I will offer myself. That means after the baby is born, she will offer herself. She will die from herself. Okay, this was the request which the female deer had made to her leader. Now let's see if the leader will agree to that or not. No. So at the very front or at the very first time, the leader refused. Said the leader gently, "This system of drawing lots is fair and just." Yes, if we see according to rule, that was the pattern which they had brought out. That was the plan which they had brought out, and according to that, the doe had to go and offer herself. So in that way, this is correct. Okay, this is fair and just. But since she was carrying a life within her, how can a mother deer put the life of her child in trouble? Any mother will not be able to do that. How can you ask another deer to die in your place? Even this is also correct. If suppose it might happen that I have done a mistake, okay, I have done a mistake, and that's the reason that I will get the punishment. But this cannot happen, that if I do something wrong, I cannot ask anybody else to go in my place and take the punishment. That's completely not going to happen. That's not possible. If a person is committing any mistake, then that person should only be punished. Right? So, if it is a rule wise, if we have to see impartially or according to the situation, then this was correct. But what about that the doe was carrying a baby within her? So, in that case, what should happen? How can you ask another deer to die in your place? So, please go and take your turn. So brighter than the sun was correct in his judgment. He gave the decision that no, nobody else will go in your place. You will go yourself and you will die. But the doe did not. She went to brighter still and asked him. So once the thing did not go well with her leader, brighter than the sun, so she went to the another leader, okay, brighter still, and repeated the same thing. Now what brighter still says? He said, very well, I shall take your turn myself. So brighter still, he replies that, okay, he understood the situation of the pregnant doe and replied that, okay, I will take your turn. When everyone saw the golden deer offering his neck, they were surprised and did not know what to say. As brighter still had accepted the fact that he was going to die, so as he had said, so he went and he offered his neck. Now while it happened, because we should remember one thing, that what the king's order was that the leaders should not be harmed in any way, right? So if the golden deer or the leader is just going for dying, that how that can happen? When everyone saw the golden deer offering his neck, they were surprised and did not know what to say. Soon, Brahmaduta came there on his chariot, followed by his men. So once Brahmaduta got there, now let's see what he says. He says, King of the deer, he said, what are you doing here? You were granted safety. What are you doing here? I already ordered this thing that the leaders' lives will be safe. They won't be harmed in any way. So why have you come here to offer your life? Your Majesty, I am simply taking a pregnant doe's turn. So brighter still replies that I am just taking one such deer's turn who is bearing a life within her. So in this case, the matter was that every one deer every day would go and offer their life. But in this case, how many lives are involved? 2 lives are involved, the mother and the child. So in that case, this cannot happen, right? Brahmaduta was silent for some time because this was a very serious issue. Now what should happen? Then he said, King of the deer, you are giving life to someone by taking someone's death on yourself. Brahmaduta, he said that brighter still was relaxing or giving someone life by taking that deer's death on itself. Brighter still was going to die itself by giving somebody life. Okay. When I was a child, I had heard about this thing called sacrifice. We all have heard about sacrifice, but I had not seen it before. Sacrifice is one such thing which happens rarely. Okay. We might all have heard about this topic, but it's very rare that we can see it, we can witness it in life. Listen, I will give you your life and I will give the doe her life as well. So Brahmaduta, he granted safety to both the lives. The life of brighter still as well as the life of the pregnant doe. But brighter still did not move. Once the life, I have said something wrong here. Brahmaduta not only granted safety to the life of the deer, brighter still, but also to the life of the child which was within the womb of the doe. Okay, so 3 lives are saved here. I'm sorry, I made the mistake. But Brighter still did not move. The deer still was there. He said, "Your Majesty, what about the other deer in the park and those in the forest? Today this thing has happened. Today Brahmaduta is granting the safety. Okay, today Brahmaduta is giving relaxation to this deer, but this might not happen. This might not continue. Maybe the next day he might not do the same thing. Okay, he might not accept the next day. So what about them?" Brighter still asks this question. "I give them their lives too." Okay, good. The deer, those were in the park and in the forest, they were granted safety. That means no deer will be hunted from now on. "Thank you, Your Majesty. What about the other 4-footed creatures?" Now Brahmaduta, he was a king. Okay, he liked to hunt. No doubt his favorite animal was deer, but he liked hunting. It might happen that from now onwards, he won't be hunting deer, but he would be hunting. The hunting would still go on. The process of hunting would still go on. So what about that? Still some life will be dying. So how that can happen? So that's why Brighter still, he asks another question, that what about the other 4-footed creatures? "I give them their lives too," smiled the king. "Your Majesty, what of the birds that fly in the sky and the fish that swim in the water?" Today, he is hunting deer. Maybe he will stop that. He will go to some other creatures. He said that he will even stop that. He will not hunt any 4-footed creatures. But if he is not going for any 4-footed creatures, it might also happen that if not 4-footed creatures, then he may start hunting birds and fish. So in that case, what? So Brahmaduta, he understood the trick of Brighter still, and then he starts saying, "I give them their lives, laughed the king and began to dance and sing." So he started merrymaking, he started laughing, he understood actually the thing, that why Brighter still was asking the questions repeatedly about every creature on the earth. "I give them their lives, laughed the king and began to dance and sing. May they eat, may they drink, may they breathe," sang the king. So he was in a very good mood. He had understood a very precious lesson, okay, from Brighter still. Now he started singing. So finally the life of all the creatures on earth was granted safety. Finally. Then the great being got to his feet. Now here the great being is referring to Brighter still. After tossing his head so that his silver antlers sent beams of light in all directions, he was gone. This tossing his head was the form of respect that was shown to the decision of King Brahmaduta. That very day, after he showed his respect to the decision of the king, he left. That very day, he and all the other deer left the park and went home to the forest to live the rest of their lives. So all the deer were left free to just live freely on the earth. This story is true. Now one thing, this story, in case what is said to be true is that various such things you will find quite unreal, but this story is true in this case, that let's see how. For justice is brighter than the sun, but mercy is brighter still. Now it is said here that the story is true. Story is true in what sense? It is true in this sense that the lesson that we learn from this story, that is true. The message which is delivered, that is true. And it is said here that no doubt, brighter than the sun, whatever judgment he gave, that was correct, that was true, that was fair. But if Brighter Still had not understood the situation of the doe, of the pregnant doe, then would the situation have been resolved? Would this have happened that all the creatures on the earth would have granted safety? This would not have happened. That's why in every case, okay, suppose you face a situation, every time this is the thing or this is the message that we understand or we get from this story is that every time following the rules or working according to a judgment, okay, is not worthy, or we always cannot follow rules. Sometime in some particular situations mercy is also important, and that's why here this line is saying that justice is brighter than the sun. Brighter than the sun showed justice, but mercy is brighter still. Brighter still, actually he showed mercy, and if that was not shown, then maybe the scene could have been different. And the highest mercy is to sacrifice your own happiness for others. As I said, sacrificing something is quite rare, okay, which happens rarely in life, because some of the things which we like, we want to keep it for ourselves. Okay, but the highest mercy is to sacrifice something for somebody else's happiness. Even if we want the same thing, even if we have liked the thing, but still if we are giving that thing to somebody else, just thinking that that person will be happy, that is the highest form of humanity and even the highest form of sacrifice. Okay, or the highest form of mercy is that. That's how you can be more merciful. Okay, that's the true picture of having mercy. So that's all about the story of Brighter Still. Hopefully it was interesting and you have understood the story. If having any doubt, you can just consult me with that. Okay, so that's all for today. Thank you.